welcome to the second video. I know I initially wanted to do a second video within the first week, but I guess I want to talk a little bit about that, why it's difficult for me to kind of go into these things. I know initially we talked about like us wanting to improve ourselves, make ourselves a little bit better, better time management, figuring things out. But I think it's important, first of all, to realize what is wrong in order to in order to start solving these issues, right? So I kind of wanted to show a little bit more about an average, I wish I could say average day, but of course I know it's different for every single person, but I wanted to kind of show what it's like for me. And if you feel kind of the same way, again, the whole part of it is so that, know that you're not alone. And these things are happening to a lot of different people. And I wanted to later on, hopefully figure out a way in order to combat these things. So first of all, the main issue that I had was, that I still have actually, that, there's a reason why I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's because I'm constantly trying to figure out to kind of fix my sleeping schedule. I've always been playing a lot of video games, and if you know a little bit about online video games and stuff like that, is that there's always more, right? Which is the best part about video games. Take League of Legends, for example. I played since season 3 or so, and basically it's, for me personally, I feel that the reason why I play is because I sometimes can't figure out some of the success that I find in video games compared to in real life, right? That's the whole point. In video games, you get like a win, a loss, you get the excitement, you get a lot of things that a lot of times you don't find in real life. But the whole point of me talking about this is that it really screws up my sleeping schedule. I'm sure that if you guys played stuff, you know about the whole mentality of you can't end the day on a loss, and you just want to feel good about before going to bed, which I would recommend also not playing games right before sleeping, because you're all excited, you're pumped up, you're excited, and it really doesn't help. But the main issue that I had back then with these kind of wins or losses is that, whether I like to admit or not, I do tilt. And, it's, when you tilt, you can't really perform, and then it's just a scary slope, right? So you had a bad game, then you want to queue for another one because you realize that you don't want to end the day on a loss. And then you perform badly, then it just goes on and on and on. Before you know it, it's 4 a.m., you hate yourself, and you have 19 losses in a row. Something like that. And that's obviously something that's really bad, because, if you wake up, like if you sleep at 5 o'clock in the morning, like I did in college, then you wake up the next day at, 7 hours, like lunchtime, or sometimes late in the afternoon as well. And then all of a sudden you wake up in the afternoon, it's like half my day is gone, and I hate myself, and this whole cycle just sucks, right? Because you start your work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then, before you know it, you finish your work at like 10 o'clock at night, and then you're like, hey, I want to be able to reward myself with some video games. You see what I mean? Because that's the whole bad cycle. So when they talked about, I think in a way, video game addiction, for me, obviously this is not anything scientific, but for me that's kind of what happens. And this kind of happens on and off also, because of the nature of my job. A couple of years ago, I was actually working for a company in Switzerland, and we really needed, as a relationship manager, I really needed to be available most of the time for my clients, which means that sometimes I'm gaming at in the middle of the night, sometimes I'm actually working, right? So over time, you just kind of adjust and my sleeping schedule has been messed up for the last couple of years, and that's something that really, really messes up with the mentality. You know, the feeling of productivity, the feeling of actually having a fixed schedule. Sometimes it really, really helps being a little bit more mentally happy, I guess, if that's the way to put it. So obviously that's the part about the sleeping schedule, but also want to talk about like what happens outside of that. I'm not sure exactly how to put this, but I was diagnosed with ADD back in college, and I personally don't really like to use this as an excuse, because honestly, for me, I can't really tell, right? And that's the whole part about being focused or not, is that when you realize that you're not focused, you're actually not focused. No. When you realize that you are focused, you're actually not focused, right? So it's the whole thing. I feel like it's a really strange kind of topic. But, you know, so I'm waking up in the middle of the day, feeling already really bad. But then there's YouTube, there's video games, there's other things that pop up from time to time, because that's the thing. If you don't have a strict schedule, if you don't have deadlines, if you're too, I hate to say it like this, but sometimes if you're capable of handling things that are given to you, there's a problem, because at one point it's just, I know I can handle it, right? Back in college, one of the main issues I had was I never studied. I studied about, let's say, 2 weeks before finals, before the end of the year, and I went to classes and stuff like that, but I never really did anything. And at one point, it's just realizing, hey, why shouldn't I? Why can't I? Because I'm gonna pass anyways. Do I have the best grades? Probably not. But, you know, that's kind of the thing. So, for instance, I would be like, hey, I wanted to study like 1 to 2 hours after classes, or for instance, right now, I want to work a little bit, 1 to 2 hours on some of the side projects that I have. But then, you know, a friend comes online, you want to use this time and play some video games with them, or you just find a good YouTube video, you go down the rabbit hole, all of a sudden you're looking at how to make horseshoes or something like that. I don't really know. And then before you realize it, 3 hours have passed, and then you already woke up in the afternoon, and then it's already, you know, you wasted another few hours. Then you have to go to dinner, and you have to grab some food, more or less. And then, you know, before you know it, it's 9 p.m. and you haven't done anything. So I wanted to share, this is kind of like the things that I, you know, as someone right now who is trying to get their life under control, not having exactly all the deadlines or all the specific requirements for me to be able to do. I think this is something that I want to be able to tackle on my own. And yeah, I think right now it's, what I wanted to do was to kind of address this, figure things out one step at a time. Obviously, there are a lot of other things that I want to be focusing on, but I think at the moment, it's finding a schedule, it's finding, in a way, finding purpose, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to share this week. I just wanted to let you guys know, if you feel the same way, if there's something that you identify yourself with in this video, just like, subscribe, haha. But honestly, it's just share your experiences with me if that's possible. And in a way, we'll tackle this in the next few days, I hope, about how to set a better schedule, how to set more, you know, figure out better ways to not procrastinate, and to figure out better ways to kind of be more motivated. And yeah. So thank you guys. See you again soon.